I feel like they're super trash.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thanks for taking time to meet again. Really appreciate it. As you know, I'm Bob. I think everybody has met. We did introductions last time, so I think good there. Our purpose today is to continue working toward an agreement that
We do have a lot more people if you'd like them to introduce. We have our entire exec board here. Maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Why don't we just do quick? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do some quick intros.
Thanks.
Oh yeah. So I'm Dr. Vanessa Durand. I'm a school psychologist here at MPS.
Tracy Chrisman, I serve as the secretary on the executive board. I'm also a school psychologist at Cooper School.
I'm Mandy Haley, school psychologist and the president of PAMPS currently.
I'm Jennifer Kimmons, and I'm president-elect of PAMPS.
Christopher Sauter, school psychologist. Chris Archer, school psych mayor and treasurer for PAMPS.
And I'm Dr. Sam Reese, school psychologist, Alliance High School, Transition High School, member of large.
Good morning. Thank you, Dominic. Pleasure.
Good morning, Mary Van Hart, deputy.
Hi, I'm Larry Cote, director of employment relations.
Mrs. Zambor, MPS board president.
Brittany Caselius, superintendent.
Bob Sanders, assistant city attorney.
Morning, Matt Nixon, Ram, budget director. Tony Talia, and I lead the communications office.
And I'm Cheryl HR. One more board clerk.
All right. Thank you. So our purpose today is to continue working toward an agreement that delivers a fair increase for MPS employees, provides clarity and stability to your bargaining unit, and is responsible and sustainable for the district and the community that we serve. So at the outset, I think it's important to acknowledge what I believe, based on prior discussions, is genuine common ground. We all want MPS employees to be compensated fairly. We all want this district to remain financially stable and capable of delivering quality education to the 66,000 students who depend on it. And we all have an interest in resolving this negotiation efficiently without protracted proceedings so that employees have certainty and so that the district can plan. And so the MPS bargaining team is coming to the table today with professionalism, mutual respect, and solutions grounded in that framework and in light of the fiscal reality that the district is navigating. So MPS is prepared to bargain seriously in good faith. And hopefully today we can see if we can come to some sort of agreement. As you're aware from our first session and from the written proposals exchanged on February 19th, the scope of mandatory bargaining under Wisconsin Act 10 is limited to base wages capped at CPI. And there are some proposals on the table already. And MPS's answer to that question of base wages is going to remain consistent with our session 1 position. We're offering options that get to that full base building 2.63, 2 different implementation structures to consider. And so our goal today is to hear whether PAMPS is prepared to engage with any of those structures or to put an alternative on the table that works for both sides. We appreciate the work that your team is putting into the process, and we're ready to begin session 2 with a focus on progress and practical solutions. So we're asking PAMPS to work with us to engage with the options on the table or to bring us something new so that together we can find common ground and meet this moment. With that, I'll present our proposal, our session 2 proposal, which again, I think that's all just one. I don't have copies. All of that. But we can make some copies. Yes. But we look forward to hearing from you all. And if you want to take a moment to discuss and caucus and at any time now or during the process, that's always an option.
I think I just want to make sure you all, because there's some new members at the table, understand what the original offers were.
They've been reviewed, yeah.
Okay, good.
It looks like the copier's on if you all want to copies.
It's the same offer. Is that correct?
Yeah.
There's no changes based on the counter offer that we've proposed. Is that correct?
Is there a counter offer you've proposed?
Well, we did submit a counter offer in writing on February 20th. I mailed it to everybody who had been in communication with us.
I didn't see it.
Wasn't the day.
And the counter offer was that the full CPI would be given on July 1, 2026.
I thought that was your opening offer. So
You did receive that.
Yeah.
Well, we actually are, we are coming back with the same feeling and the same counter proposal. And we'd like to tell you why. We believe that that is fair and appropriate for our department. So we've talked about some of this the last time, but we did want to begin just by saying again, thank you. We appreciate all of you for meeting with us. And we really do appreciate your transparency. In my understanding and recollection, honestly, the superintendent has never met with PAMPS, and we appreciate that. And I don't even know if the head of HR has met with us, to be honest, in the past. But we've always been treated with respect, but I feel like there's more transparency this year, and we appreciate that. We also would like to acknowledge the email that went out this week with the commitment to investing in the people that serve our students by maintaining the steps and lanes. We're hoping that that is finalized. It seemed as though that would be the case. And the same healthcare plan. So we wanted to acknowledge that, and we appreciate that as a team. So again, we represent 172 school psychologists. We'd like to just maybe remind you that we're some of the most highly credentialed individuals in this district. In order to be a school psychologist, you have to have an education specialist degree, which is a postmaster's pre-doctoral degree, which requires 70 graduate credits at a minimum just to hold the position of school psychologist. But beyond that, we have a number of people who exceed those credentials. We have two people at our table who are both licensed psychologists, so they both have PhDs, but are also licensed psychologists working in our schools, at the pay rate of a school psychologist. We also have a number of others who also have PhDs, not necessarily licensed psychologists. We also have people who hold Director of People Services licenses. Again, so offering that administrative, not working as administrators, but offering that administrative type expertise when we're serving on teams in the building. And then we also have a number of people who are nationally certified school psychologists. We also, in our department, have earned the exemplary status, which is a national recognition by the National School Psych Association. We are one of 2 districts to receive that this year in the nation, Boston, of course, being the other one. And we're one of 4 districts to receive that distinction in the last 4 years. Now, the reason we're able to receive this distinction, honestly, is because of our staff, which is highly qualified, highly capable, but also the ability we have to provide direct services to students. So in a lot of districts, school psychologists are primarily involved in special education evaluations, also a critical role that we engage in. But in Milwaukee Public Schools, we really are tasked with a significant, a larger responsibility than that. We also have a significant amount of legal accountability with special education. We are the Section 504 facilitators, which was bargained for a number of years ago because they really wanted school psychologists, the administration, to facilitate that. Because again, that's another legal procedure where there's a lot of accountability. So we have school psychologists functioning in that role. And then beyond that, we are involved in a lot of crisis. We're on the crisis team. And I can guarantee you that the school psychologist is the first call when there's a crisis in the building. And we are more than happy to support in those areas. And then the other thing we wanted to mention is I think another thing that makes us really strong is our stability. So we have 172 psychologists, 60 or 1/3 roughly of our department have been here for 15 to 30 years. So we have really shown that people have devoted their entire careers to Milwaukee Public Schools. We kind of wanted to mention too that there was a time where there was a pay freeze a number of years ago. And while we don't, of course, have the data exactly, we think that number of staff retention would be significantly higher if that pay freeze did not occur. Because at that time, a number of people left and went to, just districts in neighboring communities because honestly, they were paid more. It's also worthy of noting that with the current increases in pay, a number of those people have actually returned to Milwaukee Public Schools. We like to call them boomerang psychologists, just a funny term. But we have, I think there's like at least 3, 4, 5, 6 people who during that time went to the suburbs and have now returned to Milwaukee Public Schools, which I think is rather significant. We also wanted to mention that with the pay structures in place and the recent pay increases, we, in the last 3 years, we have hired 34 new psychologists, which is a lot. And in the last 3 years, we have a 97% retention rate of those 34 psychologists. I think it's worthy to note that the single person that left followed his spouse to northern Wisconsin. So he did not want to leave Milwaukee Public Schools. He left for personal and family reasons, which is different than leaving for other reasons. Another reason we obtained exemplary status is our ability to train and support our newly hired psychologists. So this kind of fits into that retention, but also like the expertise and the high capacity that our department has to serve this district. And we strongly feel that any type of, decrease in pay would really could potentially impact our ability, again, to retain staff that we have put so much time and effort into training. The last thing we wanted to point out is that obviously under the constraints of Act 10, we're only allowed to really talk about that CPI, right? Up to 2.63. And in truth, that's really a very small base wage increase. It's pretty small, and I think we can all acknowledge that. And the truth is that anything less than that is really a decrease in pay, because the CPI really just allows you to maintain the same standard of living. That is not a raise. We're not allowed to negotiate for a raise. And if I'm being honest, I think we're all pretty satisfied in general with our pay structure. But it seems, to be honest, like somewhat unreasonable to ask school psychologists to take a reduction in pay, which it essentially is as the cost of living increases. So respectfully and with firm conviction, we urge you not to ask the dedicated school psychologists who devoted their careers to serving and supporting the students and families in Milwaukee to shoulder the burden of the district's financial crisis. Financial solutions, in our opinion, should be pursued through the reduction of excessive expenditures in other areas, which we recognize you are working to do, obviously. PAMPS believes it is unreasonable to expect the student-facing employees to forgo a small cost of living adjustment increase to help absorb the impact of the financial crisis. We, of course, remain committed to the success of Milwaukee students and families, and we believe that honoring the 2.63% CPI starting July 1st, 2026 is a necessary investment in the legal, emotional, and academic stability of our schools.
I'm curious, are psychologists 11-month or 12-month?
10,
10
200 days.
So they're 10-month employees.
200 days.
200 days.
200 days.
Yep. So just a little bit beyond teacher at 191. Yeah, so you get a little bit of extra time that way. I receive all of that, and am so appreciative of our psychologists. Again, the award-winning, I've met with you several times, and I'm really excited about the work that we get to do in the future. And what we're trying to do is protect as much as we can the direct services to our children. Reductions are going to be quite challenging for us over the next several weeks and months as we enter into our staffing. We all know we're facing a $46 million deficit. It's not going to be easy for the organization. And we did, like you said, indicated that we did provide, and this is information only, not to obviously be bargained, provide for steps and lanes, and did not provide for increases to healthcare in terms of any changes to the healthcare plan. We anticipate that healthcare will go up 5.8%. That's going to fall to the bottom line and increase our deficit, obviously. And we also know that providing for steps and lanes is going to cost us another $8 million at least to provide for those steps and lanes. And that is a real raise. Giving the year experience to our employees is an actual raise in pay. Giving them experience for their education and is a raise in pay. Obviously, people have to pay to get their education, typically. Some people are lucky enough to get a scholarship or something, and we do some tuition reimbursement. But there is costs to the district to provide for that compensation additionally for steps and lanes. So I just want the public to think that there is no raise being given, because there is actually a raise being given. CPI, certainly we could argue the cost of energy, the costs, we're going to absorb 5% in energy. We don't know what world events are going to happen that will impact energy costs going forward. So that makes it even more volatile for a large organization like us with over 153 buildings to manage. So there's incredible amount of volatility and structural imbalance for us moving forward. And any raises or compensation changes that we give to our employees doesn't just impact this year, it impacts future years as well structurally. And what we're trying to do on the administration side is be fiscally responsible so that the raises or any raises or steps or lanes or anything that we do can be sustained into out years. Because the only way that you resolve that in the future is you don't typically do pay cuts, and you don't want to do that, but it would mean freezes or major reductions like we're going to have to do. And I will be bringing forward a plan to the board in the very near future, a large amount of reductions. PAMPS currently, psychologists are currently overstaffed for the national average I think the national average is 1 to 500, and you're at about 1 to 335.
I think 435.
Okay. And it's a bit under, and I'm trying.
Special education students is also higher than the national average, which
That's
is part
true.
of why we need more of us.
100%. And I think every district has that similar challenge. As a superintendent in Boston, we had a very similar challenge with trying to get to that national average, and even below it if we possibly could. And certainly try to do third-party billing where we can, to make sure that we're able to bill back some of the expenses too. And so I have committed to trying as best I can not to cut in the areas of psychologists, counselors, social workers, parent coordinators, athletics, classroom, and trying to buy down some of the early grade classrooms. As you know, many of you are in our special ed services know that our special ed audit is going to come back, and it's going to require us to do some sort of significant staffing readjustment within our special ed classrooms, and in particular comp classrooms that are providing those complex needs services to our students. So I just wanted to share some of that so that you understood how very challenging it is for the administration, and all of the real layoffs that we're going to have to do in central office. Every single job here is important. Everybody has a family, and everybody contributes to the success of our children, and it's just going to be incredibly challenging over the next several months. And I feel as though the 3 offers that we have provided are very fair. We didn't really hold anything back. We tried to provide an offer that would give the district some additional revenue by delaying raises 4 months for most employees, because most employees start around, you start a weeks or week or so earlier than most employees would start. But really it's about 4.5, 5 months of a delay in wages. But then getting to that 2.63 total wage increase into the base building wage, and then that would move forward structurally for us as well. So we didn't structure this with like a one-time bonus. That wasn't wage building. We didn't structure this as a less than up to CPI wage increase in terms of the base wage increase. And I just would like for you to consider that.
So,
I don't know if anybody else has anything to add.
and yeah, so right now, I think it's notable that we're both at the number that we want to be at, 2.63, and it's just a question on implementation and timing. With our offer providing some savings to the district in order to help alleviate some of the financial strain that the district is under. It's Dr. Casilius mentioned it's not the only measure, and you're all well aware of all the other measures that the district is taking or is considering. So I guess at this point, if you would, I request that maybe we take a moment to caucus.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
I believe with the proposal B, where there's an initial increase in July and then the full increase as of January, what I thought you said at the last meeting was that was a savings to the district of $66,000. Is that correct? I thought the first proposal you said 400,000. So what is I guess my question is, what is the savings to the district?
So if in fact we were able to provide for, well, why don't I give this to Nick, because this is a new one that I got that had a new estimate
Yes,
based on
so-
all. Dominic, why don't you share, just so it's accurate?
Hi. So, with the PAMPS, the first option that you mentioned, the prior proposal to another group where hourly employees received a raise beginning July 1, and then salary staff would get it January 1st. That is not part of this. So really, essentially, the options that we have on the table, or that we actually presented, is a split or delayed raise. So July 1st, one of the options was a 1.5% increase, and then the delay would be the remaining 1.13%. The total savings there for the PAMPS team, that. So 1.5 starting July 1, and then January 1, we get the additional 1.13. That would save $394,000. We did that option. And then we also just did the delayed option. It's actually almost $600,000. It wasn't 66, but 6 is a little confusing. But the fully delayed January 1, 2.63%, savings of approximately $590.
Okay. And what part of the reason I asked, there is this, and I know that this potentially like is not long term, but there is a $5 million grant that our department has received, and that grant is able to fund actually a total of 6 positions per year. It may not be fully 6. It for sure will fund 1 position for 4 years with the possibility of hiring 5 interns, and the position can fund the intern salary, but only for 1 year. So I recognize that that is not, right, you're talking about long term. I don't know how that can be considered, but I think it's important because every year we would potentially have the ability to cover the salary of 5 interns, plus the people who are facilitating the grant. So, I mean, I do wonder, can that be taken into account? And the reason that we were able to earn that $5 million grant, I mean, is because, again, of the support that we offer newly hired psychologists, because that, I mean, you know, Dr. Casilius, but it's really about establishing a pipeline for training of psychologists and getting them into Milwaukee Public Schools with UW-Madison and Alverno. But really over the course of, you know, the next 4 years, that's quite a bit of funding for psychologist positions. And again, they were willing to partner with us because of the competency and the high performance within our department, also the support that we offer our new psychologists. So I do wonder if that, something like that can be considered also when we're talking about. So we're making efforts to fund some of our positions is maybe a way to look at that, right? Like we are actively seeking money to bring that into Milwaukee Public Schools to support our students.
That's incredibly helpful as we look to continue to maintain the ratios that we have within the department as well. So we anticipate and expect all of our employees to go and seek out grants because we're all going to have to find a lot of grants if the state legislators continue to give us a goose egg. But very appreciative of those efforts.
But I think just to add one quick thing, it's important that there's, yes, the numbers are all aligned on, particularly just the ratios, the site to student ratios. So the formula is pretty simple, it's just total number of staff divided by the total number of sites that we have, I believe. And the number is approximately 70-ish
Okay.
for one site. So I just want to make sure we're put on that number.
Not all psychologists are student facing. Like, are you taking into account our supervisors?
But I think that the
It does.
national number
Okay.
takes into account all the
So
people
I
who
just-
are not the
We're at
supervisors that are
about
hired. as
70, give or take a few. I just want to make sure we were aligned on it.
Thank you. Do all of you have anything else?
Do you have a need for a caucus at all?
I would say just briefly on the ratio, certainly true. We have a smaller ratio than many other districts. As I mentioned, the work that our psychologists do is so different than other districts, right? If we wanted to have a ratio 1 to 2,000, we could have it, and we would have a very, very different department, a very, very different way of doing school psychology, which would have massive adverse effects for our students. So that's absolutely, we can agree on that. And that ratio, I think, looks different than the national average because we do school psychology different than your average.
If you take out the approximately 20 school psychologists that serve on the evaluation team, I've been on the evaluation team for 12 years now. I came in during a pay freeze, unbeknownst to me. So as far as I'm concerned, the district still owes me about $35,000 from 5 years of not giving me the raises that were in my contract. But we do that legal obligation of the initial evaluations to identify services, which frees up a lot more time for my colleagues in the buildings to actually address the mental health needs of our students. And I think that's part of why we're able to achieve that exemplary status and why we're frankly still functioning as a district in some cases. So I understand that the ratio looks like we have too many of us, but Milwaukee is just a very different district from anywhere
So
else.
let me be clear, there could never be too many of you. And let me be clear, you do not have to defend to me at all the value you bring to our children and to our families. I have seen your work. I have met your staff in the schools as I go around and say hello to everybody. You do tremendous work in the district. And so this is not about that. This is really about being able to pay our bills. And that's just the hard job of the superintendent and the school board. And we're asking for a delay in the raise. We're not asking for you to not get it. We're just asking for a delay.
I mean, unless
Because
that's a directive, that is not receiving a
all of
portion
that, that is not receiving some of it. That's correct. And we realize that's a sacrifice for everybody. It's going to be a sacrifice within the district, no matter what, because everybody's valuable here. So we'll just have to, we're trying to figure that out together. But in no way, shape, or form could any of you say anything at this table that would convince me that you are not valued. You know, you are tremendously valued and you don't have to defend that.
We appreciate that. Thank you for that acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Could we just take a moment to have each side caucus, and consider, is there, if you could put some thought into, is there a way forward, where you can, see yourselves, either agreeing with one of the plans, proposals we've submitted, or coming up with another option, as a compromise position. So if we can take 20 minutes or so and discuss, and then come back and we'll see where we're at. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, we can. No, there we
Okay.
There you go.
I didn't realize one push turned both on.
That's
Okay.
right.
Oh,
I didn't do sign on, but I understand.
That's acceptable. Response, go ahead, sure.
So after discussion, we appreciate first being involved in these conversations to try and problem solve some of the difficulties facing the district. However, we feel that our department is making a lot of efforts to both bring in money to the district with that $5 million grant that was mentioned, and to potentially reduce our own expenses in the future. And do not feel at this time that we can agree to that either of the two proposals that were mentioned today. We will take that information back to our members to discuss the revised offer. But at this time, we are not interested in committing to either of those.
how long do you think that will take to talk to your members and get back?
Would a week be acceptable amount of time to be next week? Better.
Potentially, yeah.
Do you find that reasonable, or do you have a request that it would be sooner? Because I know
If
you,
it can be.
I understand you all are managing a lot of things, so.
Yeah, I mean, certainly with the budget planning and, time is of the essence. And I think it's important for everybody's, certainty, certainly in budgeting from the district and from individuals, better to get that certainty sooner. So if, you're able to get back by Wednesday, is that doable?
I think we could at least have a conversation with our members as early as tomorrow.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you could get back by Wednesday.
And if you talk to your members and you think another meeting's not going to be productive, just let us know that as well. If you think we're at an impasse or something like that. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks.
We appreciate your
Thanks.
time. Thank you.
Thank you.